Hi everyone, this is Karen Elaine, and I want to show you how to make these very simple folded holiday trees that you can mount to a card, and you can make them in any size and with any kind of paper. Thin paper, of course, is best, and I'm going to show you how to do the whole process. So here, what you'll need is you're going to need a blank card, blank greeting card, and I'm using a 5x7 watercolor card. This is a Strathmore card, and I'm going to first paint the bottom just to give the card, like a landscape, a base, and then I'm going to let that dry, and then I'm going to fold the trees and glue them, and then add the sprinkle or the splatter after with the watercolor. So let me get started. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this card, and I'm going to leave it open because sometimes I like to close them, but it's already pre-scored. I think it'd be fun to just kind of do it a little differently this time. I'm just going to put some tape right about here. And I think I'm going to do a couple of lines for text. And you can do this for text, or if you have stamps, you want to do a stamped greeting, you can do that. But this gives you room to have some light area underneath so that you can write something. And then I'm going to watercolor, and I'm just going to take these watercolors, and I've got some nice watercolors here that are pretty quick to dissolve in water. I'm just going to get that ready, and I'm just going to grab this. And I have some metallic watercolors too, because I like to add a little sparkle to my cards. So I've got a bunch of gold and silver, and I also have this mirror series, which is the most glittery watercolor I've ever used. It's amazing. So I'm going to use that, and that's MAB watercolors mirror series. And I have a pencil and a ruler, scissors, glue, and all that. So let me just start with this because that will give, needs time to dry, but you just need to make just a basic horizon. And I think I'm going to use this, this is like a very gray blue color, and I'm just going to just go right across, straight across the card. And it doesn't have to be a perfect horizon. It just needs to be, basically cover the card, and you can make it as light or as dark as you want, or as textured or as untextured as you want. This is pretty much not going to even show the top part, but it's good to have this kind of at that lower third, or maybe even a little lower than that. So I'm just going to put the color down, and I'm just doing a couple colors. They're kind of like a gray, it's blue gray. I have to try to remember the name of the color, but it kind of looks like a Payne's gray and maybe a little indigo, and just kind of gonna maybe just play around with this horizon just a little bit, and then making sure that now I did this tape, I want to tell you, is amazing. This is Nichiban, and it's a masking tape. It's a 1/4 inch wide. I think it's incredible. It's the best. It holds the best of any of the masking tape I've tried. Now I'm just going to put a little a glittery watercolor inside this, just to kind of give it some sparkle. I'm just going to kind of drop it in, maybe even just kind of sprinkle it in, just kind of like a wash over the wet paint that I have. And not a whole lot, because I'll be doing some sprinkling of color later on. Just enough to give it that extra fun little sparkle, just a little bit. Now that has to dry completely before I go to the next step. And while that one was waiting to dry, I decided to pull one out that I already prepared. And this one only has one line, but it's the same thing. And this one I only did part of I had it folded and then did the same exact thing that you saw me do. But I just did very simple, a little bit lighter. That's some Bloodstone Genuine, some Payne's Gray, and a little bit of sparkle, but it's very subtle. But just different. So I've already made the theme to this card. I've written the perfect Christmas tree with a question mark, and then I wrote all Christmas trees are perfect. Now that's my card, and now all I have to do now is prepare the trees. So what you're gonna need is you're gonna need a variety of squares. And I'd say no larger than 4.5 for this size, 4.5 inches for this size card. This is a 5x7 when it's closed. And so you just wanna pick 3 papers that are, and you can use gel prints, like this one here is a gel print. Maybe I'll do this one. I think that's pretty. 1, 2. I'm going to do gel prints. You can use origami paper. You can use magazine papers. You can use anything that. Here's another one that's pretty. I think those are nice. 3 different sizes. You can see they're just, one's 4.5 inches. This one is, I believe, 3.5, maybe 4 inches, and this one's 3.5. I'm not really sure. Let me measure that. So this one is 4 inches. This one is 3.5, and this one is 3. So stagger the sizes in this about that size. And what you're going to need to do next is you're going to need to mark these. You don't want to. You don't want to fold this first. Normally I would fold this, and in the other ones I had folded it, but it left a crease line right up the center. And I don't really like that. So to avoid that, you just want to make a mark with a ruler. And I'm just going to take it and find the little points right exact in the middle. And I'm going to gently, with just a very light pencil, mark that where I would normally fold. But this time I'm not folding it in this particular case because I don't want that mark down the middle. Otherwise, I can would be all folded. But we're going to just do this to kind of keep it nice and smooth on the front of the tree. So I'm just going to mark all 3 places. Here and here. Very gentle line. And now the folding starts. So I'm going to start with the bigger one. And I'm going to fold these raw edges to the line I just made. So that avoids that first fold, and it makes a nice smooth tree. So here's how it looks now. It looks beautiful, but I want to narrow that tree. It's pretty, but I think it's going to be too wide for this card. And I like the kind of tall, skinny trees. So I'm going to just take another fold, but it's going to be just a small fold. It's not going to be all the way to the crease line. I'm just narrowing it a little bit. So I'm going to take, I'm not sure what, I just kind of eyeball it, basically. You want to eyeball it so that they're both the same distance. So you're going to have to kind of eyeball it and just bring it to the point like this. And then, so that's the kind of, I want that size. I think that's pretty. And now I'm going to fold up the bottom as far as it will go. So I'm just going to fold that bottom piece up, and now I've got a really nice tree. Now, of course, I have to glue this. This needs to have some glue to hold it down. So I'm just going to take my white glue and just run a little glue on this side and a little glue on this side. Not a lot, just enough to tack it down. And then I'm going to put some glue on this little flap here, and that just tacks it down. So I'm going to make the other trees as well. So I've got this nice little, this is the largest one, and you can kind of decide how you're going to lay it. Just put it on your card and kind of get an idea of where you want to place it. This one is the darker one. So did I mention, I don't know if I mentioned, but you should have, all of your papers should be contrasting in color, or different colors, or light, dark, and medium, because that will make it a nice composition. So now I'm going to do the same thing with this one. I'm going to find the side that I want to use, and I'm going to fold just like I did. Just going to fold this to the center, to that line that I made, and on both sides, just fold it to the line, make that top nice and pointy, and then I'm going to narrow it just a little bit differently. It doesn't have to be exactly the same, but I'm going to just narrow it. Oop. And you still want to keep that pointy. All right. Let me just do the other one. So I'm going to try to get that next side to go. It's going to be the same distance as, there we go, like that. You just want these to be even, these sides. and then just kind of get your point nice and sharp at the top. Even though that's going to get covered up if it's not perfect, you're going to cover that up with a star anyway. And then this gets folded up like that, so that these little edges come to a point right here. And if it doesn't come to a point, just keep working it so that comes to a point like that and like that. Now, same thing, I need to just tack that down with my glue, and not a lot is needed, but just enough to hold it, and then just glue it down. Now, if your tree is a little wonky, like see how the point is acting funny, I'm just going to make sure that that comes to a decent point before I let it dry. Yeah, like that. And this is gel printed washi paper, so it's a little softer than some of the papers, and it's nice and it's very pliable. And here's my second piece. And then my third piece is going to be the smaller one. So I'm going to go ahead and fold it along do the same thing, fold that along that pencil line. And then make that tree. Now this one, I don't know if I want to make this, well, I'm just going to make it skinny. I like them skinny, but you can make big trees too. If you want to do a landscape, you can go make a bigger tree. Like this is a fatter tree. It hasn't been narrowed. And you could go across this way if you want. But I'm going to do it I'm doing a portrait portrait card. You can do it any orientation and it will work just perfectly. I'm just going to fold those ends and now glue those little pieces down. And I can fold this little piece up, this little flap up, and get those nice and flat. Okay, that's it. So I've made my 3 trees. See how those are easy. There's not a lot, you don't have to have a diagram or anything to do this. It's just a matter of folding them into a tall tree shape. And now I'm going to decide how I'm going to place these. So I think I want this one kind of in the front. So we've got kind of like in that orientation. So I need to put this one first, this one second, and that one third. So I'm going to just take them off. And now I see where I need to place them. So, and this needs a little more glue. This has metallic acrylic paint, so it's going to take a little bit more to glue it down. But I'm going to put enough glue on there that it will stick nice, all of it. Okay. I'm just going to lay it on my paper, and leave a little, you want room for the star. There's going to be a little star up there. So I'm going to put it down about that far into the watercolor. And it gives a little horizon, which is really nice. It's just a very simple, but very effective. Then I'm going to glue this one down and get in there. And usually after I finish the card, because of the glue and the card will warp, if I don't do something, I usually put it under something heavy. I have a book press. I can put it in that, or you can put it under heavy books, something so that you have something that you can dry it. So I'm just going to put this one right here, like this one. So I'm staggering it just a little bit. And I'm just going to glue that. And then the last one is going to go, let's see. Do I want it, I think that way, or I could go farther down. I kind of like this. I like it a little bit farther down. Okay, so now I'm going to just go ahead and glue this one. And these are just such a fun way to play with all your paper scraps that you have, that if you are a person who does a lot of mixed media art, if you like to decorate paper because it's relaxing, then you need to do something with that paper. And this is just a great way to use up small paper scraps. So there, I'm going to just kind of do it like that so that it looks like that. So I'm going to lay it down, and now it still needs it needs a couple things. Normally I would put it under the book press right now, and then I would come back and do the other stuff later. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to pause and I'm going to let this kind of dry. Okay, now that these have bonded, it's not completely dry, but it's dry enough for me to do the next step. I'm going to add the stars. Now, what I did to make stars is I have these little punch set that I bought with the 3 different sizes, and that works out really well. But if you don't have that, you can cut out stars or draw stars on. But I'm going to use these. These are just so easy. And this is glitter cardstock that I bought from, I think it was at Walmart. It's just a glitter cardstock that you can buy in a pad. So I'm just going to decide the sizes, which I think are the larger one and then 2 smaller ones. And just going to glue these on. Okay, got the glue. I've got the stars glued on now. So, and what else would look really good would be the 3D foam tape would look really nice and the stars would stick out a little. But I just used regular white glue and that's plenty. And the last thing I want to do is I want to add some sparkles, but not too much. So I'm going to cover my lettering because I don't want that to get painted. Just going to cover it up and going to make room for doing a little splattering. I'm going to use, let's see if I can use some of that same color that was in my base, just a really dark blue, but I'm going to dilute it quite a bit. And then I'm going to add some of this really pretty kind of a bluish silver metallic paint or metallic watercolor. I'm just going to really fill that brush with it. And don't want to get it too sopping wet, but I'm going to also just kind of get it ready to do my spattering. I'm just going to spatter it, just sort of drop it down. I don't want to push it too hard, but I don't want to over splatter. I tend to do that, so I'm going to try to be a little more subtle with my splatters. And it's good that it's getting on the trees and on the base. And I'm going to add just a little bit of this mirror series, a little bit of the glittery stuff. I just got a big splatter there, but I like that, so I'm good with that. Just kind of tap your brush and then kind of randomly let those spatters kind of go in different directions. And I don't think I need a lot more than that. Just I do tend to overdo the splatters, but I think that's just fine. We'll just leave it like that. And now that I've done that, I'm going to go ahead and pull this off so that because I don't want to cover up my text. And it is finished. All I need to do is let this dry completely, and I have a really beautiful card. I'm just going to show you a couple more of these that I did. This is one that I did, and it's got a lot more sparkle on it. I add a little bit of Stickles glitter onto the trees, and I added some more sparkle. And then these, I did a little lighter background with I didn't do text. It's just going to be a blank card, and I can add, this is origami paper. And I just added used some, I think some sumi inks, metallic sumi inks, and I used a Q-tip to make the ornaments. And then this one is the same thing with a very plain background with that's a 5-inch square that took up quite a bit of the paper. This is a little one that is on a regular, like a small announcement card size. And I did it with old book pages that I had watercolored over. So, really, you can just take this to any direction you want. And, I hope that you are inspired to make these little sweet folded trees for your holiday cards. Have a wonderful holiday season.